This podcast is brought to you by the Disabled But Not Really Foundation, a local Kansas City nonprofit organization that pushes to instill a physical limitless mindset that breeds courage, confidence, and competence within the disabled community. You can follow and support Disabled But Not Really on social media or go visit their website at disabledbutnotreally.org. Their work and their mission is to really impact communities and make more people understand the benefits of inclusivity.
Good Sunday morning, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Safe Spaces. This is April Jackson, Wesley Hamilton, and thank you for joining us. We just got on, you guys, and I'm just talking away, and our partner here, Amy, she's like, Wes, you're here. I'm like, oh my God! That's literally how the whole conversation went. How are you feeling today, Mr. Hamilton?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling refreshed. I finally completely made my move to LA like 2 weeks ago. So it feels good. So I'm kind of getting into like this new, like getting into the new me. Like we have to rebirth ourselves time and time again. And I think the person that I'm evolving from is the person that was created within the pandemic in 2020. And like really when we started these talks, right?
Yeah.
I learned and grew so much in this time that it's like now it's time to start new. It's time to come back. Like I love my hair, so I hope nobody thinks it's going to be gone. But at the same time, we just need that refresher. And so that's what I'm using.
Can I reflect on when I first saw you? It wasn't, I saw you on Queer Eye before I ever knew anything about you, right? Pandemic,
Yeah.
right? And I was sitting on the couch every day, binge watch. And I used to love Queer Eye long time ago. And so, in watching you, I remember that you had hair and they cut it off. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I always tell people, don't think it's gone forever because it's not.
Yeah.
But I definitely wanted to. Well, I'll be 35 next year, and I'm like,
Big age.
We all know the trend when it comes to hair, but for me, I was just done with like having like that cut around it.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, I'm about to be 35. There's no way I'm about to just keep doing this. Like, no offense to none of the older fellas still got it going, but I'm trying to slick my hair back in a ponytail from time to time. I'm not trying to go to the barbershop every week. So
That's truth, right? That's something brothers really have to do. And I think even white guys too, like everybody Latino, like
yeah, it's high maintenance.
Mm-hmm. So. That's the same thing. I used to wear my hair, which now I kind of wish we could show pictures, but maybe not. I used to wear my hair super short, like Halle Berry short. I'm not saying I'm Halle Berry.
I can see that though.
I used to wear my hair like that, like 5 years straight. And it was more maintenance than this, because this I could pull it back in a ponytail and call it a day.
Yeah.
But once you start getting that new growth in, you got to get back in there and shave it back down. You look great. You look handsome. It's good to be here. Everybody, we're getting on because one, it's our monthly third Sunday of the month. We're so thankful to be here. We were reflecting on what we talked about this time last year. And we're like, let's build on that. So it was about giving and Wes and I are always about gratitude. And there are a few things that I'll start us on. One, we had a guest last year, Sadrina Jalal, who was at the time with Civic Atlanta in Atlanta, Georgia. And we talked about how people seem to not know that like African Americans philanthropically, percentage-wise, give more money than almost everybody else. And I know when I read that statistic a while ago, I was like, I never thought about that. But we give in church, like I'm in a Greek organization, I always give through that. Like you have to pay hundreds of dollars in dues a year, and you also give. We give to organizations that we have an affinity for. So although I think society looks at us like, oh, marginalized people, underserved people, populations with no money, I don't know. That doesn't reflect what we do. What do you say to that, Wes?
Um, I just think that, yeah, the facts are wrong when it comes to just how how people reference us as a community. I always look at the term like underserved and things. I'll tell people all the time, like even with my organization, I've switched it up just because it's not that people, most people just don't understand the value in the Black community and what we bring and how we give people our last. Like that's normally
Mhm.
the term, right? That's the term back in the streets and in your
Yeah.
community. It's like I give you my last, I give you my last, and what that means is just that we are givers, no matter the struggles that we face, no matter the daily adversity. What we might lack acknowledgement to who we are, but I
Mhm.
think and resources, but within the community, we do give, we do serve. We are the ones that are on the front line at the homeless events, the
Yeah.
homeless shelters. We're giving out the food. Like for years, it makes me think, but for years, even with disabled, but not really, our first 3 years, we did an event called Hydrate the Homeless. That was completely different than working with people with disabilities through our program.
Mhm. Mhm.
But the goal was that people to provide an opportunity, even for individuals with disabilities, to understand that we're not just victims to a situation, that we can give back and give to others. My point being, majority of the people that would come would be people from these underserved communities. I think when you go through so much struggle, you create empathy organically. Most
Right. Yeah.
institutions and cultures are trying to create empathy structurally right now,
Mhm.
right? They're bringing people in to understand
Right.
empathy. But Black people, we're very empathetic. People of color, people of that's faced struggle, that's went away from different countries and made it here. You have a lot more empathy, and you want to give because you do know where you come from. You do know the communities, but you don't need everything that looks so glorified by other cultures, and you'll give somebody your last. So I know I kind of got long winded, but I definitely believe that we are a given culture and community that people don't see.
Yeah. I know the long-windedness was great because Wesley Wisdom. You said, organizations are trying to come come at it through the structure and the organizational structure and defining it and putting boundaries on it. And yeah, it's lost a sense of being organic by any means. Um, and what I really loved, and I didn't know that about disabled, but not really, the history you shared, this idea that we give our last, and it makes me think of open up, because part of open up is inclusivity. And and I've kind of been like, well, we can be inclusive, but we have to understand that different people need different needs. So meet people where they are and serve them where they are. And I remember Marissa, who you guys never see, but you hear us talk about in the background, was saying, inclusivity is about accepting, bringing, engaging, involving every human being where they are, to even in together, if they have different needs that are being met, how do we address the whole collective? And I was like, that's true. So to hear you say like, hey, we're giving, and I'm not going to use the word should, but why can't any person give to another person?
Yeah.
Regardless if I have one leg or two, if I'm sitting in a wheelchair or standing with crutches, if my skin is brown or another complexion of brown.
I think it was that too, April, but I think it was also that when a lot of these events are structured, and people giving away food and things like that. Same way we've noticed in protesting, they're not accessible. Nobody thinks of people with disabilities being able to give, right? Like, and so it's that charity and medical model that you feel sorry for this group. So this group isn't, not saying many people, but most people, they're looking for someone to give to them, within the community, or looking for help and service. And they're not given an opportunity to go serve others, and so that they can find that joy and then go back and gain that gratitude, right? Like, because now you start to find gratitude in your experiences. You start to see your life differently, and most of the time it's by going out and serving. Because when you serve, you're not even seeing people, you're not even looking down on people, but it humbles you. Right. And so, like, our event, I mean, again, it was called Hydrate the Homeless. We stopped when the pandemic hit. But I mean, the whole method was going out and providing cold water and healthy snacks to the homeless. I mean, honestly, that took off better than the nonprofit itself. Like, I mean, for the years, I mean, we had a lot of recognition for what we were doing. And it was because, one, it was disability led, because you seen me on the front lines, you seen disabled, but not really. But then it was something that was awakening to most communities. Like, wow, like, everybody can give.
Yeah.
Everybody can serve. And it doesn't matter your current circumstances. It's where your heart is. And so that's what it was. It was showing people that we come from our heart. I have physical, limitations, but that don't mean I can't give.
Right.
And I can't help someone else. And sometimes that was the seed that needed to be planted, by having someone else see us and might see less in us, but we're giving to them. You see, like, that's how it's that phase. However, your lens of me is, let me change that by becoming or giving or doing something that you didn't expect.
Yeah, I like that. That's powerful. It makes me think about what I could be doing currently, but I remember years ago, the first time I delivered Meals on Wheels, and it was in LA. And I remember doing that for a few Thanksgivings, and I felt so good, not because, oh, I was the great hope or whatever, the connections I made with people in the community, the conversations I had, and then that translated into me understanding it's reciprocal. And so we used to take the kids and we all would do Meals on Wheels together. I've only done it once here, but that's a service that you give, and that empowers you. Like, people say, don't block my blessing. Like, no, let me give, because that's what empowerment is. Empowerment isn't like something I give to anybody. We develop power within. And you and I have just been talking about ways to give that money is involved. Like, you have to buy the food, you have to buy the water, you have to buy whatever, but it's just giving of yourself.
It was the best. It was the best food and water we would buy, April. Like, I think for me, and it's good that we talk about this, because it's like, I would like people to know that even with organizations, you still can find other things that are dear to your heart that you are aligned with, that you can go and serve and go and do. And so, like, for me, that's what it was. It was just like, when I started, I did it in Dallas. I didn't even do it in Kansas City. My cousin actually just had a vision for it. But when I got there, I had a homeless guy that he spoke. A lot of people, if you know me, I say a lot about speaking life into people. And this was my first, like, prophet that I would look at, like, because the journey he's spoken to me is, frankly, the journey I'm on today.
Wow.
He told me that, this is 2016. I was still new in the game and I was still finding myself. But in this process, I went to go serve somebody else. Like, I had packed my whole car up with water, April, and drove it to Dallas. Like, I was just like, oh, this is a good cause. I only had enough room for my wheelchair. That's how crazy it was. And he just told me, like, everything that I was going to do, I wasn't going to need my legs to do it. He told me how powerful I was going to be. And I get to reflect on that over and over. And I created the opportunity for other people to get life spoken into them too. And so that was it. It was like, we never know who people are because we look down on them, right? Like if you see somebody on the street, you're looking down on them, possibly. And
Right.
so, but if you change that and just understand that they are people, that they could just need a conversation, or even you might need their conversation, you
Mm,
might find humbleness to understand, why are they so comfortable? Right? Like some
right.
people are fine where they are, but you'll look at them and think they need to be somewhere else. And you
Right.
need to have a conversation of how much of a vessel they are on this earth to be able to do what they do. And so I found that through all of the contact that I was going through with individuals, and it just became one of those things. And yeah, so all about giving, all about, creating something that is bigger than you, and just where your heart is. I think that's what it is. It's just, then nobody had to give it to us. We would go out, we would go buy the things, and you find so much peace and joy and just doing it, investing in it, and then watching the smiles on people's face because you truly changed their life just by being you or
Yeah.
serving.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. So you and I came together through two nonprofits, yours, Disabled But Not Really, and the one I'm working with, Open Up Pittsburgh. And you guys, there's a little strategy involved here. Giving Tuesday is coming up. And if you haven't heard of that, it's usually this month is the 29th. That's usually the last Tuesday of November. And so on the high end, a lot of philanthropists, a lot of companies, they try to get up off some money because usually donations are tax free, right? And it'll save their tax base. But honestly, a lot of people very genuinely want to give to causes they believe in. And, it can be grassroots too. Like you can give $1, you can give your time, you can give thousands of dollars, you give millions of dollars. But you'll see a lot of action taking place where people are saying, hey, support our cause. And, I'm of the opinion, support any cause like you believe in. It can be animals, it can be the environment, it can be women, it can be any part of humanity, children. But see what appeals to you and what you want to become a part of, because it takes community and it takes people to move change. And that's what Wes and I are about. And so, Open Up centers the arts and mindfulness. They center it around those with disabilities. And as I mentioned, it's about radical hospitality. It's about inclusivity and how we come together as a large community, because we all need it. We all need to be grounded. And so Open Up Pittsburgh is, we're available for Giving Tuesday. Make your donations. We go into schools. We go into businesses. We've worked in the city of Pittsburgh, and although it's centered around those with disabilities, our friends and with disabilities, all of us, it's not exclusive to that. Like we've worked with the city of Pittsburgh. We've worked with, school districts, with teachers, students, like everybody. And the intention is just to give a space and bring awareness and accessibility. That's a key thing that you said, Wes. Accessibility of it to all, because especially in the mindfulness space, it had become, before the pandemic, this place of like, do you have the money to pay for it? And, do you have the time to do it? Can you sit cross-legged? And can you, go upside down? Are you wearing the special clothes to do it? And that's not at all what it's about. So we
Yeah,
really invite you to, support the cause, because we want to continue that moving forward.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so many people give, and this is a time where there are a lot of reasons to give. So find something that aligns with you. And I'll share a few quotes here in a minute, but talking about like disabled but not really, and we continually try to change our verbiage to align with the with our growth.
Mm.
You know, so I always look at like my organization being really built on the back of my own story and experience, and that's the way we lead. But as I continue to live this disabled life, I am becoming more aware of things. I'm opening doors as I become aware, and as I open these doors, my organization comes behind it with like a door stopper so that we can keep it open. So
Mm.
we're like, so I always look at like we're growing in who we began being. You get to see that evolution of who we are. So our mission is to forge a diverse journey of courage and confidence for individuals who live with a disability. The biggest thing for us is identity. And we do have programs that are structured around fitness and nutrition, education, as well as mental health. But all of these things are helping you figure out who you are from the inside out so that you can create your identity in this world that already thinks they know who you are. And our like one of our taglines is disabled but not really, works with people living with disabilities, the companies they may work for, and, and the communities in which they live in. We provide inclusive training and support blended environments that works best for everybody. Making sure that not only do we bring value to the individual, but we bring awareness to the institutions that they are a part of, the communities that they are a part of, and as well as their family and friends. You know, taking away the dependent model, but allowing people to find independence in each individual, even if they still need assistance. No one should feel dependent. So, yeah, everybody deserves they are more than their circumstances, and that's disabled, but not really. So, if you would like to donate for us for Giving Tuesday, that's great. But I will also let everyone know because we are streaming on a lot of different platforms. Facebook and Instagram does a great tool where you can select a nonprofit for Giving Tuesday and host a fundraiser. I know for the last few years, Facebook was matching donations. So, like if you did a fundraiser for a nonprofit, they would match the donations up to a certain amount that they cap off. So, start your fundraiser now because you can. Um, and just know that, yeah, this is a perfect time to give and see that money become amplified in a sense, because there are a lot of different organizations and institutions that are pushing it out. Or share the video, share the post, share any fundraiser that you see. A lot of people forget to hit share on things, and that's the easiest thing you can do is just share something to support somebody else. So, yeah, just wanted to give some of those options.
So that was good. And disabledbutnotreally.org
Yep.
is the website. Open Up's website is open-up.org. And again, Open Up's mission is to teach mindfulness tools through movement and art practices that center people with living with disabilities. Our programs are open to all who identify as having a disability and those who do not. They are for everyone. And we have, what I love about the connectivity of our two orgs is the intersectionality of humanity that we represent. You know, when you look at the website, you're going to see people of every shade and every shape. And that's something that Wesley and I push. Like, for a long time, even in these spaces, it looked lily white. And, you know, people, Black folks, people, other people of color as well, were pushed to the side and not given the same support, even though almost percentage wise, like you look at disability and, you know, so many of us are affected by disabilities that the support that's needed. And when you look in the medical industry, there is a bias. There's a conscious bias and an unconscious bias. So, you know, we don't receive the same services as others. So, supporting, even though like we're centered on like health and wellness, we support those types of things too. We do advocacy work for those. So I like what you said, Wes, like Instagram, Facebook, like everybody has their post. Please share. $1 from 50 people is $50, and that goes to the work. Like, trust me, all that money goes to the work and the programming, right, Wes?
Yes, it does. I mean, when you think about 365 days to make an impact, and because when you think of organizations, they're serving. They're not working 9 to 5. They're working all around the clock. Especially depending on what their demographic that they're serving, who they're serving. There are some people that just don't stop. So the funding helps the teams, the programming, the ability to bring in volunteers. To make sure that volunteers got a space to come in and serve, but you are giving to help make this world a better place. Nonprofit organizations, some of the biggest corporations are nonprofits, and a lot of people don't know. Yeah. Even the NFL is a nonprofit. So just imagine how much money they make and that they're receiving as just a donation. So don't be mind blown when they are giving back to communities. I mean, they are a nonprofit organization. So, and just, there are organizations that are employing individuals with disabilities. So your donations go a long way for that as well. Yeah. It's not just about serving, it's providing the opportunities so people can actually live a regular life like everybody else as well. So much to go when it comes to your donation. So rather it's $1, 50 cents, or even more than that, it goes a long way.
We have somebody moderating, so if you guys have questions, you want to put them in the chat. We could drop the websites in the chat as well, and it's even simple now too. Like we both, we have QR codes, so we'll, share all that stuff so that you guys can share and donate and give. And also come to us. Wes is based in Kansas City. I'm based in Pittsburgh, but we have reach throughout the country, honestly. If there are services that you see we provide or things that you need a little advocacy for, if we can't do it, we'll definitely, support you in finding the resources that can help you. That's a big part of this too.
And that's good that you share that, April, because I always tell people we definitely have our demographic that we serve, and you'll see it through our website. But what we try to make sure people don't avoid is the credible resources that we provide. We are continuously trying to collaborate with organizations everywhere, no matter who they serve, so that we can put them on our resource list and be able to provide that resource to individuals and communities. So I always tell, because even like for us, we have individuals that come in that want to be a part of our program, but they have to tap into some of the resources we provide first to get them set up and prepared for our programming. But if we didn't do the research to find the resources, we wouldn't be able to serve, right? Or we would be turning people away from our door. And so we always say, like, you're welcome to come in because we'll figure it out. And I always say, like, don't say you can't serve someone before you completely have done a research to understand if you can't, but have that resource that speaks to that individual, that disability, that minority group, like have that resource that can speak better than you if you can't do it. And I think that's the good part about nonprofits. Most of them have resource pages and a lot of people don't tap them. So make sure y'all tap into those resource pages, especially if you don't think there's an alignment, because there could be a resource that finds a way for you to be better aligned with something that serves you.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you grateful for lately?
I think lately for me, my gratitude comes from a few. I did my last speaking event on November 15th. Well, it was my last booked event for the year. And it was a crazy, it had been a crazy few months of travel. Think a lot of people be following me on social media. I was always gone. Like there was never a time I was at the house. Um, so I'm grateful for a break. I actually really said that I don't want to get back to work until like next year.
Hmm.
And that's just because I didn't process my level of grieving last year. I didn't take care of myself in a lot of different ways. And so um, I'm grateful to have this time for stillness,
Hmm.
and the ability to now hone in to, who I've become. So many things happened for me last year that I never processed. And so, now that I finally have this break, I have this time, and I'm grateful for this time. I'm grateful for the ability to say I have time, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, and just the opportunity at life, like every day we have the opportunity to do something better, to right our wrongs, and especially if you are able to open your eyes up. And so for me, just having that opportunity at life, and awareness of myself and who I am, and like even like my chop, like I'm grateful that I can understand and know when a change is necessary.
Mm. Yeah. I like
So yeah.
change is necessary. That's good. And me, like, weaving into that, because I feel like I'm going through changes right now. And so I'm grateful to that I can focus and look backward and see the seasons, and it gives me more gratitude for that. Like, I look at my kids growing up and moving on and doing their own thing, and there's a sadness because there's such a difference in the family structure, and there's a difference to my identity, and I'm so thankful that we had those years together, Um, and it's important to take some time to slow down and just be in the change, you
Yeah.
know, instead of looking forward and looking backward. And that's what I find myself do, looking forward, looking backward, and like just sitting. And so, I mean, I'm so thankful, like, that we could even be on here to even talk about it, to share that, to um, be a part of life. And we were really part of, like you said, we started in the pandemic, and to see like how we transitioned through that season and we're here at this moment with all that's going on, I'm really grateful just to be a witness and be a part of all of it.
Yeah. Same.
That's gratitude. We'd love to hear from you guys what you guys are grateful for. And I popped up 2 books, Wes, and I want to hear your quotes. Um, this is a book called Finding Gratitude, which was gifted to me. Finding Gratitude. I'll drop that in, but it's just, ways to, they're like little things that you can affirm and speak to, and, use these words if you can't find your own. I like that. And then this other book by Angeles Aaron, I may have shared this before, Living in Gratitude. Marianne Williamson, you guys, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of her. This is a really good book, and it's just mastering the art of giving thanks every day. Because that makes a big difference. I know you do your affirmations almost every morning. I try to, do mine, and it is what keeps a smile on our face and helps us move forward. And so Wes and I wanted to share that, and that's part of healing. Finding gratitude is a way to kind of restructure your brain so that you're not focused on the negativity, because negativity can bring toxic, and I don't want to sound all woo-woo, excuse me, but honestly, you notice when you're moving and grinding and going and ducking and dodging and going through stressors, it can put a lot of heaviness into your body. And there are hormones, there are things, chemicals that are released in your body that are really can be toxic to you. But the gratitude, the joy, focusing on that, that can be better than drinking a glass of wine or eating a piece of chocolate, because those things bring us joy. And it's really important to have those moments where you can bring joy into yourself.
Yes, I love that. Love that, April.
What are some quotes you have, Wes?
Um, I think it's just two. I was looking at my little quote section, but one, it says, "You cannot become a leader without doing more than you are paid for,
Mm. Ooh.
and you cannot be successful without becoming a leader." And so, to me, I mean that's everyone understands, doing more than what you are paid for. But a lot of people don't really. It's going the extra mile in everything that you do. You can serve and give and provide to anything that you find love for. So, like, I always just, the way I want to break that down is that do the things that you love so that you can serve people with the things you're passionate about, um, in order to live your purpose, right? Like, I've learned that. I heard it a long time ago. It said, and I'll break it down better. It said, we find things we're passionate about and we fall in love with it. But then the things that then we should serve people with the things that we're passionate about, because then you never lose that touch, right? Because you have passion for it. But then it shapes into your purpose. So now you become organically giver. You become an organic giver because you're serving through passion. Most people that give and they don't like it, or they don't like the cause, it's like because you're giving without that passion for what the cause is.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes back to finding alignment with the institution or the organization that you want to serve, or give to, and then understand that you can do more than what you're paid for. I take pride in all of our volunteers that do that every day, and really appreciate them, because they do go the extra mile, and it's because they're passionate about the cause. And there's many times where, in the conversation, like, hey, I can pay you, or I can, what's a good fee? And you get a lot of people that's like, no, I just want to do it. Hey, I can come in and help you for 4 hours. Hey, I
Mm-hmm.
got this. And um, again, that's leadership. That's success to me. It's like people that go outside of their way or outside of their day to make sure that something is done, or something is served, or something can be completed to give to others. So again, I think you know being able to do more than what you're paid for, and understanding that you want to fall in love with something, and then serve with something that your heart is toward, not something else. Because then, I mean, by then, there's nothing that anyone can stop you from doing, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I tell people all the time, like, I started disabled, but not for anything more than me understanding that the things that change my life can change somebody else's.
Yeah.
It wasn't nothing but that. It was the process that I went through. It wasn't the money. It wasn't anything. It was a process. And because I am passionate about that process, I'm willing to lead others and be on by their side while they go through their journey. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so again, but that's because I'm passionate about it, and I'm passionate to serve in that way. Because yeah. So
I like that. And I was thinking, like, even with all of that, there's a balance, right? You, our passions move us and drive us, and we want to be sure that we take time for ourselves. because anything could exhaust you. The person you love the most can exhaust you. The energy only goes so far, and that's, I think it's so important to find that stillness. Like you're saying, you're taking that time to find your stillness. I am too, because in that, sometimes you realize what your passion is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I was gonna say stillness breeds the beast. You know what I
Mm,
mean? A lot of people, I mean, I came in contact with so many people that are just scared to be alone with themselves. And I had to have someone realize that one day. They were just speaking about being at the house and, oh, it's boring. And I'm like, is it boring because you're the only one there and you're with your own company? And that's not what you want to be around. And for that, I think that we have to find that time to build peace within ourselves, to truly just have that awareness. And sometimes it makes sense to battle your own self, and the best way to find that awareness is, can you be alone with your own self
yeah. Yeah.
and your thoughts with no distractions, right? Like no distractions. Like it's the scariest thing, but you can create so much from that
Yeah.
because you're facing your demons, you're facing your thoughts, and it can breed something. But nobody can give you peace but yourself.
Right.
And
Right.
so be able to find peace within yourself so that you serve completely, with from gratitude and humbleness and empathy and love. Um,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what mindfulness is all about, right? For so long, I remember years ago thinking like, oh, if I say these affirmations, these prayers, do this, I'll feel better. That's not the intention. The intention is to do just what you were saying, Wesley. Just sit in it, sit with your feelings, good, bad, indifferent, ugly, sit in the fear, be scared, like be able to do it, because what comes out of that could be amazing. And I know, like, talk about gratitude. That's been something I've been grateful for. There were so many years where I was almost never alone, and for such short periods of time. And I think about people who are parents, right? You're a parent, like sometimes you don't have time to just be alone. And you miss that. And so, and I know there are other times where people are like, well, I'm always alone. Community is important too. Like it's important to connect with other people. People live longer when they're in community and they're not alone. So the balance, find the balance. But being a part of your passion, being a part of nonprofits in your area, can really support that giving that is necessary for survival for all of us.
No, absolutely.
So we're winding down, guys. We just wanted to do giving and gratitude. Wes, what are you reading and podcasting and listening to and watching these days?
Honestly, I'm not reading anything, which is crazy, but uh I realized the other day I hadn't read when Audible told me I had 5 credits. I'm like, oh, I haven't bought a
Oh,
book in
yeah.
5 months. I'm like, oh man.
Like, put that on pause and let me catch up.
Um, but I have been listening to different podcasts. I'm very been stuck on Jay Shetty, and
Mm,
I've still been listening to his, and just the interviews he's been having really just been speaking to me. So I've kind of just kept it there instead of kind of overcrowding my mind with so much knowledge and information. And then really just, so yeah, so I think like that's been it. But I am definitely like on this thing of like grabbing some more books and getting back into my own reading and growing. But I just wanted to give myself time to just be still, like in every way. Like I reference myself as a student of life, so I'm always learning from something in a day. Like I have to soak up some knowledge to feel complete in my day.
yeah.
Um, it's just that I just right now, I'm more focused on finding that from family and friends and people that I haven't been around because of my schedule, learning from my daughter that I haven't really had a great, real conversation with in months because of work.
Mm,
And learn about her experiences as she's grown and 13 now. And so again, like I think my reading is the people around me right now.
I like
and
that.
and just, yeah, like aligning with their levels of growth, so I don't feel like I'm putting them in that bubble of who I knew they were 6 months ago, but really learning who they are today so that I can accept that and acknowledge their growth too.
That's beautiful. Like being present, right? Being present. That's so important. And I do know that's like so true, right? People think of you when they've had the most time with you and they don't realize like you have a history and you have a present. And I've done that. I put people in a box. Um, Last month we had Ashley Lawrence on, and I shared the books that I'm reading, and then Ashley on Instagram. So as you know, I'm not like you on Instagram, but one day I asked a question about books and I got like a lot of responses. So I don't know if Ashley shared this book last time she was on or in the post, but it's How We Show Up by Mia Birdsong. And I've been listening to it on Audible and it's been powerful and it's informing my work because that's another thing Wes and I are going to share with you guys what we do personally. So we both work in the DEI space, Jedi, DEIJ, whatever y'all want to call it. We do all of it. Um, Also, we talk about accessibility, and I do coaching. I do a lot of executive leadership coaching for leaders in nonprofits. Like that's specifically what I do, helping people who have started nonprofits or who have ideas about it. How do they bring it to fruition? Mia Birdsong, How We Show Up, talks a lot about collective healing. So that's been really good. And I've been listening to it on Audible because I too had a whole bunch of credits. And then listening to them, listening to the Archetype, Meghan Markle's podcast, and also Glennon Doyle's We Could Do Hard Things. So just a little bit of that. But I hear you, Wes. I love silence. Like I love when there's no TV on, there's no words on the song. Like sometimes just it's too many words from other people, you know?
Yeah, no, it's funny, but if you ever watch like some of my stories, I'm always playing like Sentimental Mood by, the
Heard
Duke.
that. Yep.
And I always do it like when I'm fixing my tea, right? Like,
Mhm.
but as I've done it more and more, I've realized how much like it benefits me. So I had this flight from San Jose to KC. It was about a 3 hour flight. I listened to classical music the whole way.
Oh, that sounds beautiful to me.
And it was like my first time listening. Like even like I had a lady like across from me, and like she seen me listening to it, and I'm like, I'm vibing, I'm looking so happy,
Yeah.
right? Like where I kind of maybe an hour go by, I look over on hers, and she's listening to it, like she done went to sleep to it. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so needed, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I definitely feel
I
that.
love it. Do you want to share with the people what you're doing like professionally
Yeah.
outside of DNR?
So a lot of my, I always tell people a lot of my bread and butter just comes from public speaking. I definitely speak all over the country. Done some amazing international events this year, so looking to get that my voice over across seas is much more. But public speaking, outside of just being a director of Disabled but Not Really, DEI consultant, as well as I do modeling. That's like my side hustle though. And yeah, like So going into the new year, though, I could see myself speaking more. I do want to launch my own podcast, and then I think I really want to just be a world traveler. Like I want to add that to like my title.
Yes.
Um, and just yeah, so right now, yeah, big on philanthropy, you guys. Always trying to figure out ways to serve, but getting my voice out by traveling the world and learning from the world can come back and be able to plant that seed in the communities that need it the most. And so that's like where I kind of see 2023. So yeah.
I'm excited for 2023. I think it's I you know, I'm just putting this out there to our audience. When we talk about things you're passionate about and you care about, and there is an old saying like, do your passion and the money will come.
Mhm.
And I believed it, but I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm passionate about dancing. Ain't nobody paying me to dance, but but that's a true statement. And then what Wes was saying, like, find your passion and the community you're passionate for. Find that, because you never know how you will evolve, how you will evolve professionally. Like now I'm doing things that I've been learning about for 20 plus years. Like it's all coming together. And it's going to continue to evolve. I was listening to a TED talk with Bevy Smith. Her mother is 94 years old. And she said her mother is still moving and shaking and growing. And when she did this TED talk at 55, she was evolving. So continue to evolve, you guys. And part of it can be finding your passion and looking to organizations that you don't have to recreate the wheel. Like there are some organizations that are doing the work. There are nonprofits that are doing the work. And you know what? If they're not, start your own like Wes did.
Hey, you know what? I always tell people like even if the wheel is spinning, like what you can do is just add to that turn. But collaboration is very important. So make sure that whatever you do, you collaborate with other institutions that are in the same, that are doing the same focus. It is big to build community, as April shared earlier. But the best way to build community is knowing what community you want to be a part of. So do that internal work for yourself, to know who you are, so you can align yourself with things that you're passionate about, so you can allow your passion to serve you, which creates your purpose.
There
Um,
it goes. There
and
it goes.
yeah, tap in, make sure y'all follow any links that we share, and as well as like, yeah, we got, what episode is this, April?
This is episode 24. It's been 24 is like 2 years.
Yeah,
Oh
there we go,
my gosh. And
right?
we've done every month. I think there was only 1 month we played a recap. Cheers. We did
Cheers.
it.
And shout out to Amy too, because she's been here with us this whole time. So
Yes. And look up SLIP. SLIP is another organization that supports us with our translation. And like Wes said, if you go to disabledbutnotreally.org or open-up pittsburgh.org, go to our resource page, go to our community partners, see who we're connected with as well. So even if you don't feel an affinity, you could still give. But if you don't feel an affinity and passion to volunteer with what we're doing, we're connected to other people. And that's been exciting for us. It's brought both of us to LA. It's brought both of us to Pittsburgh. I'm hoping, we'll get to Kansas City. We've been traveling just to connect with each other or the organization. So Tuesday, the 29th is Giving Tuesday. We appreciate you all for listening, and, give and receive a lot. I've noticed a lot of pride sometimes. We don't want to receive. We don't want to take a handout. No, whatever support you need, allow it to come to you, because you don't want to block somebody else's blessing. And you give, you receive, you give, you receive. It's a cycle. And I'm grateful for all of you.
yes, love it, love it. It is a cycle. Share your gratitude. Happy Thanksgiving to those that are celebrating, and Yeah, just understand that family is important. The
Mm-hmm.
people around you is important. And so express your gratitude, not just in things in life, but to the people around you and why they have such an important place. So I'm grateful for April, Amy, and Marissa. Love y'all. Love these conversations that we have had and just the community we've built amongst ourselves. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, just wanted to make sure y'all feel that love too.
All right. Well, enjoy the day. We always kind of joke, you guys, because we have some people who support the Buffalo Bills. They're up under some snow right now. We got Kansas City. You guys play today,
We
Wes?
play, it's so I feel so bad because I'm back in KC and they're playing in LA today.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
I,
Where's
I, I
where'd
need to
you
be at
go?
that game, April,
You could have been at SoFi. And you could have
Need-
been warm, but it's all good. And I'm out here.
it's all good, right? So football today. Anybody, if your team's not the Chiefs, I feel bad for you.
And I'm torn because I live in Pittsburgh. I'm a Los Angelinos to the heart. What can
Yeah.
we do?
So
Enjoy the day. It's all in good fun.
bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for joining us and listening to the podcast. If you would like more information on the guests and the stories that you've heard today, and to hear stories from others, subscribe to the podcast. We also invite you to subscribe to Open Up Pittsburgh's newsletter, as well as our YouTube channel. We want you all to take care, and remember to make your own stories. This is April. Peace.